Hi guys, JB Minot here, and this is part 2 of my end of year pickups for 2020 featuring the month of November. They are all Switch games, so let's get started. Nickelodeon Kart Racers Grand Prix. This is Kart Racers 2 Grand Prix. This is the sequel to the original that was released a couple years back. Apparently it warned enough to get a sequel. I bought it used for 28 bucks at GameStop. Professor Rubix Brain Fitness. This is kind of a Brain Age type game motif around the Rubik's Cube, although some of the tests don't involve you. What you do is you take a bunch of daily tests and they evaluate you day by day, and there's a bunch, and all the mini tests are a little bit revolved around the Rubik's Cube, but not all of them. But anyway, there's also 4 mini games on there. Some of them are clever, some of them are not. Some of them are like Tetris-like. One of them is based on the game 2048, if you've ever played it on the iPod. But you move numbers around on a cube, move them back and forth, and you double the numbers until you get the number 2048. But it's pretty interesting. It's a 3D version of it. Journey to the Savage Planet. This is kind of a, they call it a satire of capitalism. It reminds me of The Outer Worlds. What's that one game that that was exploration, but it was real buggy and there was really nothing to it. They made No Man's Sky. They made a huge deal about it until it came out, and then they hated it until they had some DLC, which they say it's better now. But it's a pretty nice game so far. But there's really not a whole lot of action. It's mostly a lot of exploration. I've only shot 3 enemies, or one kind of enemy on here, and they're pretty easy once you get used to the controls. Okay, a video version of Family Feud. I like Family Feud. It's a fun game. I try to like this game. It's from Nicholas. There's a reason the first boss is on the screen and not a whole lot of the other bosses. Dungreed. This is a side-scrolling 2D dungeon crawler. And what you do is, of course, you get better. You level up with every time you go through the dungeon and die by the number of enemies. The problem is, seems to be really, really, really more difficult than it should be. I got all the way up to level 30, the maximum level, and you have these learning trees that you get skill points for every level, and you only get 30 of them, but you can go back and reset them and rechange them to however you see fit. And I can only get past the first boss, and I can barely do that. And once I got past the first boss, if you go back to that dungeon again, which you have to fight that same boss again. It's just, this is one of the most difficult games I've ever played, and I would enjoy this game if it weren't so doggone hard. I've only rescued 2 or 3 people from this. It's from Nicholas, so. Human Fall Flat. This is a physics level puzzle game. You're this guy made of a clay or something, and you can use him to, I think, jump in certain areas, and you have to get him basically to the exit of certain areas. And you move him around, and he's real floppy, and it's real physics based. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. This is the same as Hyrule Warriors, a prequel to Breath of the Wild. It's got the graphics from a Breath of the Wild. It takes place 100 years before that entry, and it's like Samurai Warriors in that vein from Koei Games. PGA Tour 2K21. This has been getting a lot of good reviews. Hopefully it's different from other golf games, but I got this for cheap at Target for 25 bucks. Panzer Dragoon. I ordered this from Limited Run Games. I pre-ordered it. It's I think it's from Sega, old Sega Cast game or something like that, or Sega CD game. But there's that, and it took months for them to get it to me. Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory. This is a Kingdom Hearts rhythm game from the featuring characters from Kingdom Hearts and Disney. I thought this was going to be like the Final Fantasy Theat rhythm games, but it's not. This one's actually really tough to play. This is one new. If you like rhythm games, you can't go wrong with it. It will kick your butt. It's fun to play. Need for Speed Remastered, or Hot Pursuit Remastered, based on the classic, I believe, PS2 game. Stardew Valley, finally on physical. This is kind of like Harvest Moon. It's an addictive little farming simulator where you craft and you farm, and you move on to this farm and you learn to craft, you learn to farm, and you learn to craft, and you learn to fish and whatnot. And of course you grow your farm and help out the city folks and stuff like that. So Sakuna of Rice and Ruin, you are a little demigod, and I guess you're exiled with a bunch of immortals to this underworld area. And in this underworld area, to live, you got to grow rice to survive. Well, she goes into various dungeons, 2D dungeons, kind of like Muramasa, and she, and she crafts for items. She finds materials, and she kills monsters, and she finds all the little secrets. Each little dungeon has certain before you can explore it 100%, there's certain tasks you have to do in each dungeon. It's a pretty charming game, but it kind of gets old. The farming part of it really gets old. You're supposed to have these other characters with you that help you, but they don't help much. You can use them to craft and to build costumes and stuff to make your character stronger. And it's the farming portion that's really tedious. You gotta not only plant seeds, you gotta harvest, and it's really spotty. The controls are designed to be spotty. And not only do you gotta harvest the rice, but you gotta till the rice, you gotta mash them until they become brown rice or white rice, and thresh them, I think, and it gets really tedious real fast. But the battle on the game is fun. And the graphics are really beautiful too. They're hand-drawn graphics. They look like old Japanese art style. Elyot Quests from Nicholas. This is basically a pretty good Zelda 2 clone from the NES. Bakugan, Champions of Vestroya. I got it for really cheap, or I wouldn't have gotten it. And last but not, not last, excuse me. Sniper Elite 4, which I believe came from PS4. But I love sniper games like this, and it's a stealth game too. And Tropico VI, which I believe which was on the Xbox S and whichever the latest Xbox, and you can get it on PC and the PS4, I think. So it's a island running simulation game. You're basically playing as a 2-bit dictator on an island, trying to grow your island, trying to make alliances, and stuff like that. Okay, guys, that was part 2 of my end of the year series. I hope you enjoy it. Hope you have a happy new year. Hope everything goes well. Keep our country in prayer. Stay safe. And hopefully 2021 will be better for everybody. And you guys have a good new year. God bless. Bye-bye.